We have internet again, we can actually stream, just said, once we look at the history again. So, something's off. Wait, something doesn't add up. Oh, really? It's simply not possible for Mr. Faraday to have shot Mr. Rell after being stabbed. It's because he is... Well, because he died.
Yeah, he was dead instantly.
Yeah. So...
Take that!
According to the coroner's report, Mr. Faraday died instantaneously, meaning that he died immediately upon being stabbed by the knife. Ergo, he could not possibly have fired the gun after that. Ooh, you got me.
That was a very simple, like, she's not protesting me?
Yeah, but of course. Well then, if the report is correct, then there is only one correct explanation. If we suppose that Mr. Rell attacked first, Mr. Faraday, who died instantaneously, would have been unable to kill Mr. Rell. Therefore, Mr. Rell must have stabbed Mr. Faraday after he was shot. Then they both died. That is the only explanation that makes logical sense. Negating your opponent's ideas in order to prove your own theory. I see you've been studying Franziska. I just wanted to explain it to you as simply as possible. Before you foolishly propose a foolish theory that only a foolish fool like you could. How naive of you to believe that only your opinions are valid, and still expect to discover the truth that the crime scene offers you. Franziska, you've still got a ways to go. What are you talking about? Are you saying there's a flaw in my logic? Mr. Faraday died instantly, and the fact that he did is what gives rise to the contradiction in this scene. The contradiction here in this crime scene is...
The bodies fell.
Yeah. Let me get this straight. What you're arguing is this. Mr. Faraday took the gun from his evidence bag and shot Mr. Rell. Then the wounded Mr. Rell found an opportunity to take the knife and strike back. Upon being stabbed, Mr. Faraday died on the spot, and Mr. Rell died thereafter. If that's the case, then how do you explain this? Take a good look at the order in which their bodies are piled. No! Mr. Faraday's body is lying on top of Mr. Rell's. Therefore, Mr. Rell must have died before Mr. Faraday. Impossible! Yes, I agree that it seems strange no matter what angle you approach it from. Which means that the real mystery behind this crime scene that we must solve is... No, not so fast, Miles Edgeworth. What now? I simply think that you ought to think a bit more outside the box. And that it's even clearer now that the incident started with Mr. Faraday's murderous intent. She sure bounced back quickly. An explanation won't be enough this time. It's going to take some very decisive evidence to prove her wrong. It was just chance that Mr. Faraday's body fell on top of Mr. Rell's. The two bodies fell into a pile, which indicates that they attacked each other at the same time. It really doesn't matter in the slightest that they fell in the opposite order. I just know that Franziska's explanation isn't absolutely correct. All I have to do is find a hole in her logic. Once I do, I can then present her with the evidence that proves the contradiction.
Hold it!
Objection!
About that. I'm pressing someone's testimony in order to gain some time to think. You're a real one-trick pony, aren't you? It's too bad your trick only works on fools. That wasn't my intent. I simply wish for more details as to how Mr. Faraday ended up on top of Mr. Rell. Someone's impatient. I was just about to explain everything to you, so do you think you could hold on for a minute? Arr. Franziska, I'll make you a deal. I'll hold on if you hold on to that whip of yours. Oh, I'll hold on to it all right as I whip you.
Alrighty, her other stuff is like whips.
Yeah. I guess she upgraded when she became an adult, yeah. Well, now that you've quieted down a bit, I'd like to continue if you don't mind.
Hold it!
The two fell on top of each other. Don't you find that a bit strange? Not at all. Arr. I can see it in her eyes. She's dead set against me from the bottom of her heart. Miles Edgeworth, once I'm done here, you'll see that there's nothing strange at all. Now then, the two men fell into a pile, which indicates they attacked each other at the same time. What do you mean by they attacked each other at the same time? I assume Mr. Faraday had the two different weapons in his hands. He made to attack Mr. Rell while holding both the knife and revolver, and then, after Mr. Faraday fired the gun, Mr. Rell grabbed the knife as he was falling and stabbed Mr. Faraday. That is how Mr. Rell wound up on the bottom with Mr. Faraday on top. At close range, that is more than possible. Yes, it's possible, but... well, if you have any other ideas, then show me what you've got. Oh, I will. And to that extent, I'd like for you to append what you just said to your testimony. No, I don't see any point to that, but as you please. That fact indicates that they attacked each other at the same time from close range. So, let's see what we have. So he didn't hear a struggle, other than the gunshot.
Oh, well, isn't it like not running on the clothes? And then far away.
Oh, file from a few yards away. There you go. You like that finger pointing. So you believe they kill each other at close range? Sorry, but that's not possible. Just as it is written here in the crime scene notes, the firing of the handgun did not leave a gunpowder burn on Mr. Rell's clothes. Therefore, Mr. Rell and the gun must have been separated by a distance of at least 2 or 3 yards. Ah! Yes, this is by far the biggest contradiction. The two bodies are piled up on each other, yet the gun was fired from a distance. And with there being no chance that Mr. Rell moved that far after being shot, that leaves only one possible explanation. What a completely foolish line of foolish thought from a thoroughly foolish fool. If I'm not right, then who was it that made the first move for the intent to kill, huh? Who? The person that attacked first with murderous intent, that would be neither man. I think somebody killed both of them. Here in this room, contradictions appear no matter which man we claim attacked first. Thus, there can only be one explanation. There was a third person here. It was that third person who killed both Mr. Faraday and Mr. Rell, and set their bodies up to make it look like a double murder. That third person is the real culprit. Miles Edgeworth, there's just one thing you're missing. Evidence, correct? Exactly. Everything you've said up until now is nothing but a story played out in your head. Unlike you, Franziska, who clearly has all the evidence at her disposal. However, this is where the real test begins. Can you prove that there was a third person involved in this crime? Of course.
Very confident.
Yeah, if a third person was truly here, that fact would resolve the glaring contradiction. The proof that this has all been a setup made to look like they killed each other. I'll present it and lay bare the final piece of the puzzle that's not yet in place. What is the piece of evidence that proves there is a third person involved?
Bloody bag?
The one that has Faraday's blood on it? This blood here is from Mr. Faraday, but there are no other clues to be found. It begs the question, do I need to put this bag inside another bag in order to preserve it as evidence?
I think they had to...
Yeah.
There's no explanation in the one photo, like how that was done or something. So did somebody with bloody hands go in there?
That is possible.
See, like there's no explanation for that.
Take that! Straight up? Yeah, the gun. These two items point to the presence of a third person, so we could have done either. I just don't know how the gun fits. How so? Recall Detective Gumshoe's testimony. I was in the hallway the whole time, but I didn't hear a single peep of a struggle. If there wasn't a struggle in this room, there shouldn't be any plastic bags on the ground, meaning that someone else must have deliberately scattered them around. Do you not see the possibility in this? Disregarding the gun for the moment, there's a high probability of blood splatter when a knife is used on a person. If the culprit held the knife with a...
I just want to correct that should be spatter and not splatter.
Okay. If the culprit held the knife with a plastic bag around it, they could use the bag to catch any blood splatter from when they withdrew the knife.
Spatter.
Then, by spreading a few more plastic bags around, mixing the bloody one in with them, and arranging the room to make it look like there was a struggle between the two, they were able to conceal their presence. Ah! Looks like we've still got a long way to go in this investigation. Yes.
Objection!
Is that the... Yep.
CCU?
Man, I've
And the
never...
judge? He has legs?
Yeah, I didn't know that. According to that video of the... Why would he do such a thing? He's just a amorphous blob, apparently. What the heck's up with you, pal? Mr. Bad, I advise you to place Detective Gumshoe under arrest. What?
I mean, didn't do anything.
What's the meaning of this? Ah, looks like you're not man enough to discipline your own subordinates. Don't you dare. That detective claims he was there standing in front of the door the entire time. But I have on good authority that it was all a giant lie. Miss Yu, I ask that you please explain that last statement. I'll let His Honor explain it himself. I saw it with my own eyes, I tell you. During the recess, there was a period of time when there was no one in the hallway. What?
That dude just went to go get beef jerky and you know it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. See, Mr. Bad? So I ask you, why would the detective who was supposedly doing his job the whole time want to fabricate such a lie? Gumshoe, did you kill Faraday? No, of course not, sir. It would appear that the one who set this whole crime scene up is that detective, which basically renders his testimony a complete lie and wholly invalid. It looks like your perfect logic has just come tumbling down, Miles. Yeah. I didn't see it coming that he would be accused.
Me neither, but you know how he is. Like, a squirrel runs by, he went to investigate it. He's easily distracted because he's gullible or naive or helpful. But if someone's like, hey, like, the money is stuck in the machine, can you help me out? Like, he would.
He would.
Yeah, so I think somebody tricked him.
Yeah. And, you know, I gotta say, I forgot what I was gonna say. So there we go. Detective Gumshoe. No, it's not you. It's because I got a text too. If I can just respond to this really fast. Right. Apologies.
This cat will He wants you to read this novel.
It's like, it seems like no matter what the game is, it always has this theme to it.
No.
Whether it's the Apollo Justice trilogy, the original.
Well, this is the, like, building suspense.
I guess if it ain't broke.
Yeah.
Now, spit out the truth or so help me. I haven't lied to anyone, sir, honest. I really was there. I was in the hallway the whole time. Detective Bad, I ask that you please do not act without my permission. After all, I am the one that is heading up this investigation, am I not? Don't talk like you know what's going on, boy.
It looks like something from Sin City. Or Spin City?
Sin City is that black and white movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The comic book.
All I want is for this investigation to run perfectly. Perfection is the only wish of a disciple of Von Karma, after all. Therefore, before you take Detective Gumshoe into custody, I'd like to set the record straight on something. And what's that? What should I ask Detective Gumshoe about?
Why he wasn't in the hallway.
Detective Gumshoe, why were you missing from the hallway for a span of time? Look, pal, like I said, I was there the whole time, okay?
Objection!
If there's testimony against you that... Miles Edgeworth, why are you wasting our time with a completely useless question? The only logical reason as to why he was absent is that he was busy committing the crime. Anyone who says otherwise is a fool. Maybe I should ask about something else.
Ask the state of the hallway because maybe they can't see him beyond the soda machines.
It's like no one else was in the hallway at the time, correct? Huh? Of course not, pal. You're being awfully defensive. Might you be hiding something from me? Watch your mouth, pal. You can't go around saying stuff like that about me without any evidence. I suppose you're right, I have no evidence at this point. Miles Edgeworth, how could you be losing a battle of wits with this detective? You're a disgrace. And motive. I suppose the one thing I'd like clarified is Detective Gumshoe's motive for committing this crime. Motive, huh? Gumshoe, you got a grudge against Faraday or anything? No, sir, not me. Not a single bad thing against Mr. Faraday, sir. Is that a fact? You really have a problem with lying, don't you, Detective Gumshoe? I'm telling you, I am not lying. The more unnatural you act, the more suspicious you become, you know. If you want a motive, Edgeworth, I have one for you right here. Could you please share it with us? However, be forewarned that I won't hesitate to object to flights of fancy. Because all I'm interested in is the perfect explanation. You're serious, aren't you? Fine, you amuse me, so I'll humor you with a little courtroom practice. Oh dear. Sorry. Just important text there. Okay. It was about a week ago. I saw the detective get chewed out by a livid Faraday in front of the precinct. He stood there super pale as Mr. Faraday yelled, "That's a salary cut." Getting his salary cut, that's reason enough for a grudge. Well, how's that for the perfect explanation? You totally misunderstand me, pal. No matter how mad I get, I can never hold a grudge. Quiet. We can't trust anything you say. Sir, there's nothing wrong with the motive she proposed, per se. There are some gaps in her logic that need to be filled in. Misused perfect explanation may not be so perfect after all. I mean, I don't think we have to... It's funny, like, the salary cutting noises started with Faraday, continued with Edgeworth, but this must be why Gumshoe is so pro-Edgeworth, because Edgeworth got him out of this mess.
Hold it!
Mr. Faraday was upset. Yeah, you know what else? Mr. Faraday isn't exactly known to get angry often. But there he was, totally beat red in the face. Ahem. And the offending detective just stood there, pale as a ghost, like he was about to die. Just like the face he's making now, right? I'm completely innocent, I tell you. The poor man. It was quite the scene with the detective.
Hold it!
He just stood there watching this unfold in front of you. Yeah, I have to say it was really enjoyable too. But that's why, when I saw Detective Gumshoe earlier, I knew to steer clear of him.
Why is she laughing?
That's just something she does?
Yeah, but, like, I understand, like, laughing about the clothes, because, like, he looks, like, colonial, right?
Yeah, Edgeworth.
So, like, when she's like, oh, I should have known because of the clothes, and she was laughing, get it. But, like, this seems like inappropriate laughing. Like, he's, like, losing his livelihood. Like, are you lying right now, and that's why you're laughing, or you're laughing because you're screwing him over?
I don't know. But you do. Huh? What I've got stuck on my face was a bandage. Let's start with your eyes, nose, mouth, and those ridiculous eyebrows. Huh? Oh man, messing with your head is just too much fun.
She's just a little shithead.
Seems like.
This is a family show.
Yeah.
She's just cold.
She does seem like it. Yeah.
She gets her comeuppance, right? Because she gets killed?
Does she?
I think so. Wasn't that what the newspaper article was? Or is that where she prosecuted that guy and he got off anyway?
I mean, the news article we have right now,
Uh-huh.
well, she can't be dead because we're talking to her.
But, like, where did the newspaper article? Can you get to the newspaper article? The victim is CCU.
Yeah. I don't think she's CCU.
She is. Or unless that's her sister. She is Calisto? Is that her name, Calisto U? I thought maybe it was short for CCU.
Calisto U.
CC must be her sister.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I'm wondering, I'm like, well, she can't be dead. We're talking to her. You're like...
Hold it!
Although, Dahlia Hawthorne, so there are ways around it. Gotta do detective salary right off the bat like that. I'm not really familiar with the way you guys relate, but is that a common practice? Speaking of cutting my salary, didn't you threaten to do that to me earlier, too? I saw me, Mr. Von Karma, cut your salary earlier.
Hold it!
Unfortunately for you, it's not up to my standards. Is there something you want me to clarify in that case?
You got everything.
Yeah. Alright, if you could clear this one thing up for me. Mr. Faraday was killed, voted for killing Mr. Rell, Faraday and Gumshoe's relation. Really?
What did you want?
I thought motive for killing Mr. Rell.
Well, he was just a pin-off. And he was actually going to out Faraday as being the real, I guess that's or whatever, that's the famous thief. So I think he's just a pawn,
Okay, we'll go with Faraday and Gumshoe's relation first. Actually, allow me to ask the detective directly. What was your relation to Mr. Faraday? Mr. Faraday was in charge of training rookie detectives to testify in trials. I met him on the very first day after the Criminal Affairs Department, pal. Oh, I had no idea Mr. Faraday was so involved. Faraday, he may look like an easygoing guy, but he's actually a bit of a nut for strict discipline and manners. Guys like Gumshoe tended to rub him the wrong way. There, now you know how the detective and Mr. Faraday were related. Happy now? No, wait. You said you only had one thing to ask, right? Please allow me to ask about one more thing. Oh, you're a riot, Edgeworth. Poor baby. Tell you what, I'll let you have another go. How's that? I mean, the relation was easy. He's a subordinate of Faraday. And that's why I didn't think. But I understood the death of Gumshoe's potential motive for killing Mr. Rell. His motive for killing Rell, like I would know. If there was no clear motive for both of the murders, then I doubt this incident would have occurred, wouldn't you agree? Is there anyone else who might have had a grudge against either of the two men? Or should we look into that ourselves? Oh, in that case, I have absolutely no idea. What? But that's impossible. She must know something. Wait, Can you please not glare at me like that? It makes me laugh. Grr, I didn't do anything, and you're already laughing anyway. Well, anyway, the way I see it, as long as he had a motive to kill one of the two, this crime would have played out the way it did anyway. Oh? Would you care to explain your logic? And this time, please try to provide a truly perfect explanation. Perfect this, perfect that. Stop being so uptight, or is that a requisite trait for being a Von Karma? Miles, Edgeworth, I demand that you shut this rude woman up. I wish you'd both be quiet for just 1 second. Oh well, I guess I'll just have to explain it to you kids. How old is she?
22. But how old is Edgy during this?
Good question.
You got to see your own.
No.
Maybe he's supposed to be 18.
Yeah.
He's in the apprenticeship. She's got 4 years on him, and then Von Karma would be like 5 years younger than him.
Yeah, so... Okay, that probably is it. He's probably late teens. There's no one out there with a motive to kill both Mr. Faraday and Mr. How do you know that? All you really have to establish is that someone had a grudge against one of the two men. Mr. Rell, who happened to be there, became a witness to Mr. Faraday's murder. Therefore, he was killed out of necessity and set up to look like they had killed each other. I wonder if that's really true. Is there no one out there with a grudge against both men? I should take another hard look at the evidence for this morning's case. The second KG-8 incident, as people are calling it, involving an embassy staff member, and the two men who both wound up as suspects in that case, Is there someone else I'm overlooking who is somehow related to them?
Yeah. The assistant is dead, and you let the guy off for it.
Like, I feel like it might be this one, because I feel like staff member Manny Coachen, not guilty. Chat over the mono group. I mean, that was the KG...
Objection!
Miss Yu, I believe there is someone you overlooked in making your statement. Or rather, is it because you'd rather not bring this person up? What do you mean? We are looking for someone with a reason to kill both Mr. Faraday and Mr. Rell. I could think of at least one person that fits the bill. He was the suspect in the original KG-8 incident. And a member of the Cadopian Embassy staff, Mr. Manny Coachen. That's right, the very man who came to visit you earlier after the hallway. The man who killed a member of the Cadopian Embassy staff, Mr. Rell, and the man who was the lead prosecutor of the KG-8 incident, Mr. Faraday. Are you telling me that Mr. Coachen has no reason at all to kill both these men? Well, I suppose he might have a reason or two. You covered for me, pal. Maybe you're not such a bad guy after all. Don't get ahead of yourself. You're still a suspect, make no mistake about that. Perfect evidence, the perfect testimony, these are the only things I wish to hold. But I didn't do it. Huh. You will stay under my authority and go investigate Mr. Manny Coachen for me. And remember, I will not be very forgiving should any of this leak out. If you want to investigate Coachen, you'd just be wasting your time. Why is that? Coachen was up in the viewing gallery watching the trial, or so I was told. Every cop in this place has been keeping an eye on the guy since he arrived. And the only real suspect we have is still Detective Gumshoe. I suppose so. No way, come on, Detective Bad, you've got to believe me, sir. I really was in that hallway the whole time, sir. I never took a single step into this room, sir. Okay, then are you saying there was someone else who passed through the hallway? No, there was no one else, sir. Then why should I believe he didn't do it? That is one incredibly foolish detective. Standing right in front of a crime scene, all by himself, it's as good as a confession of guilt. I have to admit, it's a bit strange. Most criminals will fabricate some sort of lie to escape their crimes. And if that detective really wanted to prove that he is innocent, you'd think he would at the very least offer up I spaced out while on duty or the like. Come on, Gumshoe, time for your interrogation. Detective Bad. Miles Edgeworth, I will go on ahead and report this to Papa. And that, as they say, is that. Right, everyone? Ho, ho, ho.
Need some niceness in her.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll get some niceness out of her.
Well, she didn't grow up to be nice, so... I mean, she ended up being a good person for some of the other things, but she was always nice on the route there.
Yeah. Before we do, Miss Yu, there is something I'd like to speak with you about. What is it? So, what did you want to ask me about? The current case of the murdered Cadopian Embassy staff member. I've heard that people have begun calling it the second KG-8 incident. Only among you law enforcement types. And what about it? I'd like for you to tell me everything you know about the original KG-8 incident. I'm afraid I can't help you. I don't know anything beyond what was reported in the papers. Now, I believe you know much more since you are directly tied to the KG-8 incident. I'd appreciate it if you'd stop with the false accusations. Baseless outbursts are useless, both inside and outside the courtroom, don't you know? I do, but I also know that I do have a leg to stand on here. Yeah, we already know. Think you can stop making that ultra-serious face in front of me? If you could please stop laughing for just 1 second. I'm not going to make any headway like this. I'm just going to have to show her exactly how related to the KG-8 incident she is. Miss Yu, I believe that I have proof of your connection to the KG-8 incident. That file is your proof? Very well, then. Why don't you tell me exactly how I'm related to the incident? Through the victim. Your connection to the KG-8 incident is through the victim. The victim's name is CCU. You will note that she has the same last name as you. Can you really still tell me with a straight face that you are not related to this case? Sorry, but we're not related. What? Just kidding. You asked that question with such a serious look on your face. But I couldn't help but... Miss Yu, I ask that you please tell me the truth. Alright, I'll tell you everything I know. As you guessed, the one who reported the smuggling activities of the Amano group was my sister, CCU, as I thought. And she was killed right before she was to testify at the impending trial, by Manny Coachen. But because he was tried once, and was acquitted, he gets to live out the rest of his cushy life completely carefree. All because of a lack of evidence. Now, I heard that the evidence to convict him did exist. What? I heard it from Mr. Faraday himself after Mr. Coachen's trial was over. Apparently a man in black made off with the most important piece of evidence. Then the evidence had been tampered with. Isn't it just like a criminal to do something like that? The smuggling ring being out of the Amano group by one of its secretaries. They bailed Mr. Coachen out. Turns out they were in league with each other all along. How big was that smuggling ring? Was it a large operation? I don't really know, which is why I wanted to become the lead defense on this case that people are calling the second KG-8 incident. But I haven't learned anything new at all. I was probably expecting too much, I know. You mean you think this case has nothing to do with the smuggling ring? I don't know what to think. Why didn't Mr. Coachen want to meet with you earlier? Actually, he came to watch the trial. Apparently he only found out that I was the defense lawyer on this case after he'd arrived. He figured he should say hi, and one other thing. Looks like you couldn't resolve anything this time either. Too bad. What's that supposed to mean? Oh boy, stop it with the scary face already. I'm fine, really. I gave him a good slap across the face. The way she talks about slapping him as she laughs away is kind of creepy. But it's just as Mr. Bad said. He's not related to the double murder. I asked around and people in the gallery claimed that he was in a seat the entire time. Talk about cruel fate. Well, that is about all I know. Sorry, guess I wasn't much help, huh? That's not true. I'm sorry I made you recall such a painful time in your life. Edgeworth, you really are too serious for your own good. You really need to learn to relax. We wouldn't want you to die of stress, would we? Thank you for the advice, but there's no need to worry. Did you know laughter's the best medicine, Edgeworth? Don't you get tired of making such a serious face all the time? I'm charged with making sure that all the criminals of this world are found guilty. I have no reason for laughter. There you go, making that face again. Oh well, I've got to get going. I still have a few loose ends I need to tie up. The KG-8 incident and this murder investigation, it is my belief that these two cases are related to each other somehow. Plus that Detective Gumshoe, it's obvious he's lying, even though the lie is hurting his chances. Clearly this case is far from over, but whether or not the detective is the murderer can only be determined once I've completed my perfect investigation. Mr. Von Karma, I swear to uphold your honorable name, or my name isn't Miles Edgeworth.
So, I had only been called out for a little bit of...
What?
Nothing.
Okay. Should I continue?
Yes.
Okay. Man, Gumshoe is just... Sir, what is to become of the trial into the Cadopian embassy staff member's murder? Indeed, since both the suspect and the prosecutor are now dead, the case will be dismissed. In other words, trial ends here prematurely. Ha! Looks like you'll have to wait just a bit longer for your big debut. I suppose it can't be helped. The evidence for this trial will be transferred to you in a little while. Sir, what do you think about the murder of the Cadopian Embassy staff member? And the murders of Mr. Faraday and Mr. Rell? What an outrageous circus it has all become. That Faraday brought it all upon himself with his naivete. An outrageous circus, right, sir? I grow weary of this topic. Edgeworth, I will have you assigned to a different case. Papa, you'll come and watch my courtroom debut next, won't you? I'll consider it. Sir, if I may, please allow me to continue with my investigation. Whatever for. I know that there is already a suspect in the murder of Mr. Faraday and Mr. Rell. However, there is not enough evidence to prove that it was he who committed the crime. I'd like to continue investigating in order to find the perfect proof of his guilt. Perfect proof? Don't make me laugh. A worthless person like you has no right to claim such a thing as perfection. Wow. Papa? Who do you think is the real culprit behind these murders? Miles and I were competing to see who can find the real killer first. Plus, being able to investigate a real crime scene is a really rare opportunity. It would give us some real-life experience, wouldn't you agree? Okay, if you want to investigate this case that much, then do as you wish. Then you're allowing us to continue. In court, your top priority is to win, and a solid investigation is one of the keys to winning. We have to make sure you become recognized as a first-rate prosecutor, don't we? It wouldn't be very interesting otherwise. I'm returning home now. Edgeworth, Franziska, see to it I'm not disturbed, save for the results of your competition. Yes, sir. Of course, Papa. Franziska, thank you. What are you thanking me for? Your logic earlier was built on that scruffy detective's lie. That means that the competition is still on. Yes, just as you wished. I couldn't let you get off so easily. Now then, let's see how well you fare in the investigation from here, Miles Edgeworth. I don't have enough information yet, so my first order of business will be to question anyone involved with this case. Oh, look, she's our triangle this time. It feels like there's a whole backside to this case we're not seeing. And here we have thought that it was a case where the two men had killed each other. We're lacking in information, and as a Von Karma, I can hardly call this a perfect investigation. Indeed, it is as you say. I can't believe we agree on something. Just what is so revolting about agreeing? Anyway, our first move should be to speak with everyone related to this case. Indeed, even if you had not said it, I was planning to do so anyway. What was that last for? It wasn't me, I tell you. I didn't do anything wrong. Yes, I understand, so let's just calm down, okay, buddy? I doubt I'll get anything useful from the detective while he's this agitated. It's you. Oh, it's you, Edgeworth, and who are you? Wait, you were at the crime scene just now, weren't you? You should be disbarred for not knowing who I am. I am Franziska Von Karma, and I am about to become the successor to the family name. About to? I guess that means that for now, you're still just another kid. In which case, it's only natural that I didn't know who you are. What? Of course. Whipping Edgeworth. What? Anyway, it looks like they're planning to hold the evidence a bit longer. If there's one thing I can't stand, it's waiting. I'm terribly sorry, but I have to ask a few more questions. Yeah, well, I read that wrong, but whatever. Look at you, eyebrows scrunched, with lines on your forehead. And that's to ask of you. What exactly is so funny? Sorry, I'm just bad at dealing with a super serious atmosphere. Apparently they failed to teach you proper behavior at a crime scene in law school. I feel much better now. So what is it you want to talk about? I'd like to inquire as to where you were at the time of the murder. We were in defendant lobby number 1 the whole time, up until we heard the gunshot. And by we, I mean Mr. Bad. If you don't believe me, feel free to ask him yourself. You were with Detective Bad. Why? We had a little something to discuss, that's all. Yeah. So I take it that you were acquaintances with Detective Bad? Yes, he was the detective in charge of the KG-8 incident. Detective Bad is also related to that incident. That's right, he was the one who was supposed to protect my sister Cece. But you know how that turned out, don't you, Edgeworth? Miles Edgeworth, I have no idea what you two are talking about. I've heard of the KG-8 incident from my papa. But how does that case relate to you, Miss Yu? The victim of that case, CCU, was my little sister. You're making that super serious face. I'm fine, really.
Mack, after you're talking about your dad's sister. Like, that is serious. Your sister's dead, no one got charged with the murder, and you're laughing. What's wrong with her?
Something is. Well, look what Edward says about it. The way she talks about doing that as she laughs away is kind of creepy.
Thank you, Edgy.
Also, speaking of Mr. Bad, he and Mr. Faraday, I'd say they met up just about every single time the Yatagarasu made a move. It was practically a given the two would meet up at every one of the crime scenes. I see he did mention that he is in charge of the Yatagarasu investigation earlier. Maybe I should ask her what she knows about the Yatagarasu in more detail. Miss Yu, I was wondering if you could tell me about the Yatagarasu. The Yatagarasu, huh? I don't really know much about that character myself, but I do get a lot of consultation requests from companies to defend them. Requests from companies? The Yatagarasu isn't some petty thief out for money, you know. Alright, then perhaps the Yatagarasu is in the business of stealing people's lives. You're not very funny or witty, are you, little Miss Von Karma? Franziska, be careful about who you whip. Choose carefully or we may be sued by... There, I chose carefully, just like you wanted. That just now was hilarious, little missy. Of course it was. What is wrong with these two women? Why does my pain give them delight? And so in the end, what is the Yatagarasu? I have to say, I never even heard of this thief when I was in Germany. The Yatagarasu deals in information. Namely, in digging out dirt about backroom dealings and the like of companies. The Yatagarasu is a vigilante who steals such info and then makes it public for all to see. Vigilante or not, this person sounds like just another criminal to me. I suppose you could put it that way too. But either way, I get a lot more clients now thanks to that thief. Sounds like Miss Yu is profiting nicely. You claimed that at the time of the murder you were with Detective Bad. But don't you lawyers usually discuss the trial with your clients during a recess? We do, and that's what I was planning to do. But Mr. Faraday was being rather threatening, and he dragged Mr. Rell away. After that, Mr. Bad came into lobby number 1, so we just stayed there and talked. And what did you talk with Detective Bad about? Nothing interesting. I just insulted him some. Talked about how the trial was going, and then I insulted him some more. Bloody, when she's not laughing, her mouth seemingly spews nothing but insults. Anyway, Mr. Bad and I were in defendant lobby number 1 when the murders occurred, so I really can't tell you anything about the hallway or lobby number 2. I see. I'd like to ask you a few questions about your client, Mr. Mackerel. Now, your client first claimed to be the Yatagarasu, is that correct? Yeah. Once I heard that it was the Yatagarasu that had made off with the evidence from KG-8, I began to ask Mr. Rell all sorts of questions, but to no avail. Turns out Mr. Rell was not the Yatagarasu. He just made that up. Made it up. Mr. Rell's crime was caught on tape on the security cameras, but there is no footage of him sneaking into the Cadopian embassy itself. Hold on for just 1 second. Then you mean to say that you knew that he was not the real Yatagarasu, and that he was just another cold-blooded killer, and you were ready to defend him? Yes, that's right. I see. So a defense lawyer is actually just someone whose job is to cover for criminals. That's why defense lawyers are so detestable. They are no match for us Von Karmas. Ooh. I don't believe it, you're serious. Why don't you save that face for something really worth being serious about? And Edgeworth, do you remember what I said earlier? I have my own agenda. Whew. I'm still on the hunt for leads regarding the KG-8 incident, alright? After that, you have not a single qualm about defending a known killer. Don't put words in my mouth. I said no such thing. It's you. I should move on and speak with Detective Gumshoe now. Can't stop the water, sir. It seems that the man who was here earlier broke it by drinking from it too much. A bunch of fools who pretended to not see the foolishly foolish actions of a foolish fool. Well then, why don't you lend the officer a hand? She said bunch of fools who pretended to not see the foolishly foolish actions of a foolish fool. Nobody knows.
Okay.
As if I should have anything to do with this. Besides, that water-drinking fool's mouth is the thing that officer should be covering. Let's give that officer a description of that water guzzler later. Seems she has quite the grudge. Sounds to me like someone wanted a drink. Wow, this thing is so incredibly detailed. My inner modeling fanboy is impressed. I'm not exactly a fan of plastic models, per se, but even I can sense the superb quality of this model. I simply cannot comprehend how that man can feel so much love for such a trifle. Oh, I see. You're a disciple of my father, so you would do well to guard yourself against an interest in such unproductive things. Yes, perhaps I should take up whipping people like the young lady over here. Detective Gumshoe? Hey, it's you, pal, you're here. Youch! As am I. I don't think you needed to whip him to let him know that. I didn't do it, pal. I swear on my honor as a detective I really didn't. Your words are useless. I place my trust only in the evidence, detective. Once the investigation is fully over, and should we find out that you are the killer, there will be no mercy to be had for you. Have a heart, pal. But you're not worried, right? After all, you have nothing to worry about, if you really are innocent, that is. That's right. Hey, pal, go and do your perfect investigation and get the real killer for me, will you? I would have done so, even had you not requested me to, detective. So you and Mr. Faraday had a small meeting last week, did you? And what exactly did you do to make him so angry? I just asked Detective Bad the same thing myself, pal. Turns out he was mad at me because on my very first day as a detective, I reported in at my usual post instead of at the Criminal Affairs Department. By the time I got down to Criminal Affairs, I was really, really late. And that's when he gave me that huge speech. I remember doing the exact same thing in elementary school. On the first day of school every year, I'd always wind up going to my old classroom. How pathetic for the detective to be comparable to a mere schoolchild. He claimed to be standing guard in front of the door to lobby number 2 during the recess. However, when did you receive the order to do so, and from whom? Earlier at around 3:20 and from Detective Bad, pal. Today's trial took a really crazy turn, so I was told to make sure nothing happened to Mr. Faraday. And yet something did happen to him, correct? It looks like it was a total waste of manpower to assign you to guard duty. Ow! Your words sting worse than your whip, pal. So it was Detective Bad who ordered him to stand guard, huh? Now then, Detective Gumshoe, is there anything else you'd like to tell me? Nope, not a thing, pal. In that case, allow us to take a look at what you are carrying on your personage. Ah, wait, you can't do that. There's nothing of any particular value here. Well, my handcuffs and badge were confiscated by Detective Bad, so you know. And what is that open envelope I see sticking out of your coat pocket? Ah, hands off, pal. Just show it to us already. Yow! Annual bonus check with $5 total, except there was no check inside. You had your look, I'll give it back, pal. It's my first bonus as a brand new detective.
$5?
$5. I just got it and cashed it today. I literally had no cash on me up until I did, you know. That envelope is really special to me, now give it back. You don't need rubbish like this. Don't worry, we'll throw it away for you later. How could you? I'm sorry, but I need to take him in for questioning now. I think I've asked him just about everything I needed to. No, wait. Since he became a suspect, there is one piece of evidence I should reconfirm. Officer, I ask that you wait a second. I still have one thing I'd like to reconfirm with Detective Gumshoe. Understood, but please make it brief, sir. I want to hear from the horse's mouth. I must confirm whether or not his testimony about when the crime occurred is the truth. Bookshelf. I'm not trying to do the bookshelf. Whoops. You told me earlier that you heard no sound other than the gunshot out in the hallway. Is that correct? No mistake about it, pal. Then you are also claiming that no one passed through the hallway either. Is that also correct? Yep, not even a single ant passed through the hall while I was on duty. You do realize that the lie you're telling is only making life more difficult for yourself? Huh? Oh. But it's true. I didn't see anyone go through the hallway, and I didn't hear anything else, pal. I bet the killer found a way to kill the two guys that's beyond what I can even imagine. So he intends to continue telling this ridiculous lie. But why would he do so, given the situation he's in? I believe a thorough investigation of the hallway in front of the defendant lobbies is in order. Uh-oh. Mack, you! What the heck? You know what I think? I think she did something to make him leave his post. How could you not have noticed that coming? Wasn't that the child I changed money for earlier? Kids can be so cruel sometimes. It looks like she dropped something.
What she did, she bought something from the machine. I bet you helped her.
Yeah, I bet. Maybe we should arrest the girl. She might turn out to be a valuable lead. I believe some sort of punishment may need to be dealt with the next time we meet. I believe I've asked all that I need to of this man, now for Detective Dad and the judge. We have to confirm who is correct, the judge or that scruff face, right? I suppose we should inspect the hallway in front of lobby number 2 next, then. I suppose so. Shall we head on over, Franziska? So, did you see anything else? No, I don't think so. I see. Well, thanks for your cooperation. Oh, it's nothing. Whoops. Just doing my duty as a defender of the law. That'll be all for now. I'll ask again if I have any other questions. Anytime, Detective. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a few loose ends I have to tie up. Oh, you're that new prosecutor Mr. Von Karma recommended, right? My name is Miles Edgeworth, Your Honor. And I'm Manfred Von Karma's daughter, Franziska Von Karma. I'm set to become the successor to my genius father any day now, Your Honor. I see, Mr. New Prosecutor recommended by Von Karma, Miles Edgeworth, and Miss Jen Ack. I bit my tongue. Are you alright, Your Honor? Please feel free to refer to me as just Miss Von Karma, Your Honor. As for him, just Edgeworth is fine. Apparently somebody doesn't feel that I'm worthy of the proper title. Oh. Very well then. I shall call you Miss Von Karma and Mr. Prosecutor Edgeworth. Your Honor, Mr. Edgeworth is fine, sir. Now about your earlier testimony. Yes, what about it, Mr. Edgeworth? I would like to ask you a few questions about what exactly you saw. Alright, after all, it's my duty to clarify my testimony as a defender of the law. I greatly appreciate your cooperation, Your Honor. Now, the first thing I will need to do is figure out the defendant's exact movements. So, let's take a look at this. It would appear that this vending machine sells snacks and various other foods. Just lovely. What will they think of next? What? Don't be a jerk and cork like these beef jerks. 1 packet for $9. Defendant's fresh milk. 1/2 pint for $7. Stay neutral as the Swiss do until the end with these for $6. They're awfully overpriced. The lineup is simply awful, period. Speaking of snacks, I wonder if that Swiss roll the little girl dropped is from this machine. I was wondering about that myself. Hold up a minute. I'm not seeing an email that... Oh no, here it is. Okay. Just wanted to make sure we were streaming. They neutralize the switch to end of these till the end of what? Well, I assume it means the end of the trial. I suppose this means that one should eat these during the recess? You can't eat during a trial, so I suppose the only time you can eat them is now, huh? I wouldn't mind. If you want, we can pool our money and buy a pack together. If I have to split it with you, then I don't want it.
Really? You want me to take a Swiss roll?
Yeah. So wait. That was a Swiss roll, but... Okay.
She asked us, she gave us change, give us a bill. And it looks like they only take bills, and they take credit cards, but they don't take change.
So they take everything. When it's looking bad, blind your opposition with some OJ. Are they promoting violence? Don't worry, my whip will make sure that anybody following this advice won't be for long. I've heard of the sting of a whip, the sting of the orange juice may not be so bad. Well, I mean, like, that's the Swiss roll, right? What am I missing? Why are we still investigating it?
Is it the money?
I don't really want to check each one, so... Doesn't look like there's anything contradictory left in this area. I suppose not. Perhaps let's check elsewhere. Let's look at some of this stuff. There'll be a jerk in court, like these beef jerks.
Objection!
Miles Edgeworth, wouldn't you agree that it's a very clever pun? Do you really think they put that much effort into the product name? Even a foolish fool can understand the foolish thinking of the fool who made it up. You're acting so foolishly that I got so thoroughly mad, and now am utterly famished. If you wanted a pack of these, all you have to do is ask if the name of the person. Now, let's talk to the judge first. Your Honor, I'd like to ask you a few questions if you don't mind. Where were you at the time of the murder? Do you suspect me of something? No, nothing of the sort, Your Honor. Very well, you may continue with your testimony. Your Honor, it's your testimony, Manfred. Oh. I had no idea you were chasing after me or my testimony. I'm beginning the sense that I might want to avoid being in a trial run by this judge. Let's see here. Now then, how should I put this? When you get to be my age, you need to pay more frequent visits to the restroom. If you go take a look, through the window at the end of this hall, you'll see a small window. That is the window to the men's restroom. In other words, you can see clearly into the hallway from the men's restroom.
What's on the ground? Can I take the airplane?
We'll have to look again when we see that picture. Well, he was standing in front of the vending machines buying something from it. However, in this I couldn't believe, when I was about to exit the restroom, there was not a soul in the hallway anymore. Your Honor, if you could please calm down and explain to me rationally. Oh, I'm really sorry. Please let me regain my composure. It was really suspicious. That's what my finely honed judge's intuition said. Although, well, until the murder occurred, I just sort of brushed it off. Ho ho ho. Apparently this judge doesn't understand the concept of staying calm. That's probably all I'm going to find out from His Honor. Mr. Edgeworth, may I return to my other duties now? Yes, I'm sorry to have held you up. Thank you for your cooperation, Your Honor. Ho ho ho. Anytime, Mr. Edgeworth, anytime. The judges in this country seem rather friendly. Yes, if not a little wishy-washy. However, I hear that they are known to hand down very fair verdicts. Detective Bad, I have something I wish to inquire about. Hey, how about doing some actual work, you? I wish to inquire into Detective Gumshoe's movements during the recess. You're getting in the way of the investigation. I have an order from Mr. Von Karma himself. Plus, I still hold investigative authority. So I hear you were the one who called for Detective Gumshoe to come down here? Faraday, that guy was just accused, you know? I just knew something was going to happen. My detective's instinct told me. A lot of good it did you. You couldn't even protect one lone prosecutor with it.
Hold
Franziska, I think you need to apologize. I'm sorry. I'm terribly sorry, Detective Bad. Please continue. I used the phone on the first floor and called the precinct. I told them to send somebody over, and that detective's the one that showed up. And only upon his arrival did you set Detective Gumshoe to stand guard, Detective Bad. Yeah, I waited for him on the first floor. After we got here, we came up to these defendant lobbies together. As we entered this hallway, we ran into you. She told us that Faraday was really mad, and that he dragged Rell off to lobby number 2 to have a word or something, and that Faraday had said to not let anyone interrupt them. So what choice did I have? All I could do was tell the big lug to stand guard outside. And around what time did all of this take place? Let's see, I think it was about 30 minutes before I heard the gunshot. After giving the big lug his assignment, he never left the hallway, not once. Oh, and how can you make such a claim? One of the guards on this floor's main lobby swore to me he didn't. If the detective never left the hallway, then where did he disappear off to? Oh, that's simple. He must have gone into lobby number 2, just as I suspected. You and I, we were in lobby number 1 next door. The only one without an alibi is Gumshoe. It would seem that I am still missing some key pieces of information. Alright, we'll have to get some more of those next time. I played for a good bit. I want to guess 1 hour 10? Okay, 1 hour 3. So, we'll figure some more stuff out later. First time the judge did it and got away with it.
Well, that's terrible.
Yeah, he's been the judge for a lot. Yeah, she really is. Why are you playing so much? Alright.